Packaging. When you package stuff, you need to figure out how your stuff is going to be packaged. How are you going to present your product, okay? Now, I read an article about a lady that sold scarves, okay? She sold her scarves for $35, okay? And she sold them well at $35. But she got to thinking or whatever, and somebody else told her, and she said, you know, Mary, if you package them and put them in a package and also put on them, these are made from, I've got to make some stuff up here, I apologize. If these are made from virgin wool and hand knit, hand stitched, you know, whatever, and this wool can't, you know, whatever, and then put it on what's called a hang tag or a little folding tag that goes with that product when you sell it or when it's exhibited, okay? And then in her case, she bought a box, like a tie box, you know what I'm saying, that would go in. Well, she went to the lady and the lady said, well, this one, yeah, but the box is going to cost me $1.25, and the printing is going to cost me, you know, that tag's probably going to cost me $20. It's going to cost me another $1.50. You know, I'm going to have a $1.50 cost. The lady said, yeah, but that $35 scarf is now $50. And the lady goes, no, do it. So the lady, she's like me, I'll give it a try. You know, it's a little investment. She now sells her scarves for $50. They're now in this nice box, okay, with the tag that describes that it's handmade and done this, and in her case it was washed and whatever it was to make it look funky like it was or whatever. But now she sells them for $50. So she was selling them for $35. She's now selling for $50. To get from $35 to $50, she had to pay $1.50. I guess she made margin. But you know, those are just little things of how you're going to package it. In my case, I used to put these in Ziploc bags. I mean, that was when I started out. Well, they were good, but then they didn't look good in Ziploc bags, so I had to take them out. Well, when you take out a couple hundred of these and you put them on the shelf, it takes time. And then taking them down, it even takes more time. Okay, so now I shrink wrap them like this. People can still see them. They can't take them apart. Before, my kids would take them off the shelf. They would go over on the side. They would play with them. And then, come on, Johnny, let's go. And my puzzle would be out in the grass somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you got to think about that. Also, think about how you're going to display stuff. Okay, these are not scroll saw items. These are turned on. But I'm saying I was able to do that. Think about how you can display or do it. Okay. So packaging makes a big difference. If you can do a hang tag, if you can do something that says, if you can do a hang tag or you can do something on that, it makes a big difference. It'll make a big difference on how people perceive your item. You know, you may have to spend a little bit to do it, but do it. Okay? But anyway, so you need to figure out how you're going to package it, how you're going to do it, how you're going to sell it. We'll talk a little bit more about this one later, but okay. I don't know how many times when I sell this, the people give me this hook back. And I say, no, you bought that hook. Oh, really? Oh yeah, it cost me a little bit, but to them, it added value, huge value to it. But we're going to talk about those in the pricing side. Let's see, where are we going to go here? We're going to go, let's see. Okay, presentation. Presentation is how are you going to do it? You can't sit back in a chair and do this. You know, you have to come up with some methodology. To me, the best presentation is if you can demo it and show that you actually do make it versus buying it at a store. You actually can answer questions that people ask about it. You can ask for special orders. You know, as many items as I have, people always say, can you make such and such? I said, yes, I can. And then I'm going to take off a little bit. I think it's sitting right over here. When I do that, I bring out my trusty receipt book. and I say, okay, what would you like? Okay, that will be $50. And if you pay me now, I will ship it to you free. No one ever questions it. I say, oh, be sure, here's my email address, and would you put your email address here, and I'll tell you when I'm going to ship it. And, oh, I'm doing shows right now, so it's probably going to be 2 or 3 weeks before I can get this to you. Is that okay? Not a problem. But get it written down. Early days, I was gullible, and I would say, Joe, just send me an email, what you want, and I'll be happy to take care of it. I never saw the email. Never saw the email. So I do that a lot. I usually get, I'm going to say a half dozen orders a show. You know, I wished in some cases I wished I didn't, but you know, it's just the way it goes. Sometimes it's something I just don't have. But you know, your presentation, how are you going to do it? In my case, I need to borrow this. I have my child here. I'm going here. I'm sitting up here. I've got my saw running, whatever it is, and I'm stopping people. And I've learned that I can sneak it out far enough. I can sneak this saw out because I have a awning that goes on here, and they always allow for an awning. And so I can sneak it out so people can stop people. And then what I may say, oh, the kid over there, hey, in the blue, I need a kid with blue jeans on. Is there a kid with blue jeans on here? And I get the kid to come, and oh, I'll make you a free puzzle. And so if I don't have anybody at my booth, if I don't have anybody at my booth, I get him to come up here, and then I make him or her a free puzzle. Okay? And in the process, their parents stop. Well, when they stop, it's like when I was a kid and went to Yellowstone National Park. And how many people have been out to Yellowstone or Glacier? Okay? And you know what I talk about when I talk about car jams. Okay? Well, somebody will see something and they will stop. It may be an elk, it may be whatever it is, okay? Well, the person that saw it has left, and the object that was there has left. But the people still keep stopping because the traffic is there. You know what I'm saying? The people still stop. But I'm just saying, so once I get here, the people stop and they watch, and I play with them and I talk, and I always, in my case, I always say, you know, 80% of what I do are puzzles, and I do this and I do that. I do some three-dimensional, I do these crosses over here, and I just kind of, you know, I think he made the comment, I'm like a, circus barker or whatever it is. But anyway, that's just me. I would rather sit up here and do that than sit in my booth like this waiting for somebody to buy something. Okay? But sometimes these things get in problems. I think some of these people have heard this before. I was doing a craft show in downtown Atlanta. I was down almost the inner city. And I had a number of I had 2 little girls that were, one was on my step stool and one was standing in line. And I heard this gentleman from the crowd say, "Can I have a puzzle?" And I said, "Yes, sir." You know, I knew he was an adult versus a child. I said, "Yes, I'll be happy to make you one. I've got to finish with these 2 girls." And of course, I'm sawing, so I don't look up, you know, and I usually use that as a comic joke. I say, you know, I can talk, but I just can't look up. It's detrimental to me if I look up. But anyway, so I play with that. Well, anyway, and I said, "I'll be happy to make you one after I get done with these 2 girls, these 2 little girls." So I got done with the 2 little girls, and the guy came up. Well, I looked up, and it was President Carter. Yeah, well, see, he was, because I was right next. They were in for the weekend, and they were staying at the Carter, Carter Center. Okay, and he was out for a walk, and he was there, and so you know, he was there and making the puzzle. Now, those people that know when I make puzzles, what do? I make the puzzle, I show it to the child, and then I say, "Oh, but I never give anyone a free puzzle that's together." And then I take my chair and I turn away. And I do this over here. And then I turn back and I give them the puzzle. Well, you say that's no big deal. I am such in a habit of doing that. Okay? So I did the puzzle for the president. Did the same thing. Showed it to him. And I turned this way. I turned away. Well, over here, like where he is, and another one over here, are his secret servants. Okay? They didn't do anything because I guess they'd seen me do it so many times with all the other things. It was not out of the order. But I could, you know. But anyway, but he was very happy and appreciative of it. But I'm saying you get some really, really fun stuff. Now the other good story I had is I always play with the kids that are here, and always sometimes if I don't ask them up here, all of a sudden they just walk up on my step, or they've been there in prior years. I mean, I had one girl in Marietta that she came 7 years in a row and had her puzzles in bags, in a Ziploc bag that she bought. I've gotten these the last 6 years. Can you make me another one? You know, but just different things like that. And I've been told by our parents that there's 3 kids in the family, and those go on a certain shelf, and the other kids are not allowed to touch them in her room at all. But anyway, but I have these kids come up, and sometimes I play with them, and I say, okay, I'm thinking about making you a free puzzle, but how did your parents teach you to ask for a free puzzle? And you know, they can't come up with it, and the parents are just, I say, parents, you know, and they're just squirming. It's more fun for me watching that. But anyway, but one time, and I think a lot of you have heard this already, the kid came up on my chair, and I asked him that question, and he said, give me a puzzle. Okay? And the next thing I heard was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I said, what's going on? He says, I know I asked for it wrong, but we're not allowed to ask for it again until we count to 30. That's the rule at home. Okay? So after he got to 30, he asked for it correctly. But he's not allowed. They weren't allowed. And the trick is, his mother told me the story is, the 3 kids come home from school. They run through the door, say, Mom, popsicle, popsicle. The last one comes in and say, Mom, can I please have a popsicle? The other ones are counting, and the please one gets the popsicle. And the other ones get done and said, Mother, may I please have a popsicle? And Mother says, I don't have any more. So, you know, and she did. But I'm saying parents really catch on to that, and they really enjoy it. Okay, price and pricing, very important. Okay, price and pricing is probably your most important thing, and to me, it was the hardest thing to learn, and I am still learning. And the thing is, and I didn't realize it, but it is worse, and you sell less if you price your product too low. If you price your product too low, it doesn't have what's called perceived value. So, i.e., and you guys have heard this story a lot of times. You guys have heard this a lot of times. I do these big crosses. I think you guys have seen them. I do these crosses, okay? And they're about 12 inches wide, 17 inches long. I had about 5 or 6 of them that I'd had for 6 or 7 shows, and I hadn't sold them. I was pricing them at $45 and $50. Okay? Couldn't sell them. So, I had my pen, and I had my price tags out, and I was going to get rid of them this week. I was going to sell them. I was going to lower the price. I was tired of carrying them. I was afraid I was going to break them, and then I'd have to throw them away, so I wanted to at least get some money out of them. So I started to do this, and the vendor next door, who I didn't know from Adam's House Cat, made the comment and said, what are you doing? I said, I hadn't sold these, and blah, blah, blah. And she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm marking them down. She says, no, no, no. And I said, why not? She said, and I go, you price them. She priced them at $90 and $125. Okay? I had them priced at $45 and $50. I didn't care what you priced them at. I was going to reduce them, so it didn't make any difference to me. Didn't know her at all. Long story short, sold 3 of them in the first 2 hours of the show to 3 different people at the $90 and $125 price. Now I sell them for $200, and I can't keep them in stock. So, you know, so pricing is very important. The other thing is you need to price what I call multiples. I'm going to show the video in about 3 minutes, or if you can. I like to price in multiples, i.e., now, I probably should charge, if you went to a store, you'd probably pay $12, $12 to $13 if you went to some high-level store to do this. You probably, that's what you would pay for these, okay? I sell them for $6, but I sell 2 for 10. What do you think the people buy? The 2 for 10. Okay, now, remember I said the shows cost $25 to $350. That's your booth fee, okay? And so, to me, this is my booth fee. This is what I cover in my booth fee. I will sell anywhere from 100 to 200 of those at a show. So that covers my booth fee. It's probably less than I probably should sell them at, but it's at the right price point for people that takes the tape and padlocks it off their billfold and they pay for it, okay? So that's a good thing. So you need to come up with something where you can sell multiples. Also, everything needs to be priced. How often do you go in the store and you say, oh, that item is priceless? Well, customers will not ask you what that price is, okay? When you go to shows, you know, sometimes you have to set up at night so lights are good. Stay for one more minute, ma'am. Stay for one more minute, okay? And you got to stay cool, so you got to have that. And then you got to have your air conditioner. I fill it with ice, and now I have hot, cold air blowing on me all the time. And people,
how far up in there do you put the ice?
I make sure you can use bottles and stuff, but sometimes I use water bottles, but ice works because the more surface area of that air, because what I'm doing is I'm sucking that air in, across that ice and bringing it back out. Okay.
Not half full then, or something like that?
A bag of ice lasts me all, not much, but it blows it on me. Okay. There are books out there. I know I'm over by a little bit, but give me a couple more minutes if you can. There's books out there that you can look at. When you go, have a receipt book. Have your stuff priced. This is a stamp that has addresses on it. Have some way to keep your money. The way we use the fanny packs. That keeps it right here. You put it in a metal box. You put it in one spot. Somebody can go in and grab the metal box and you're done. This is handy. This is the way I went. I had to get a new phone, so I got that free. So now we do it. We can do it on an iPad, and we use Square, and it will increase your sales about somewhere between 25 to 30% if you use credit cards. If you take credit cards, and they're easy to do. The cost is minimal. I take Square transactions on Saturday and Sunday. By Tuesday, I have it in my account. And I haven't filled out any paperwork. Nothing. Not like the olden days where you had to add up all the receipts and then put them together and then take them to the bank and whatever it is. This one, they take it. I'd have a, yes, sir. Sales tax is on there all. You got to charge sales tax. You got to charge sales tax, and you got to fill out those forms and turn it in. And when you're doing a craft show, they're different at every location, every county you do a show in. And I do not have a business license. I just do it as an individual, use my Social Security. That's what I do it, but I do it religiously after every show. I collect the sales tax and turn it in. Never have a problem. But do that. Do receipt books. These are handy. If anybody's seen them, these are handy from this standpoint. They work on batteries. This one will last me all day, but they're dual. I can also plug an electrical cord in them. And, if I'm plugging in an electrical cord, oh, I just need it for a second, bud. But I'm saying, when you have something like this, especially if you're setting up in the fall or late spring, you know, people can see. I mean, you can see, because what I do in this case, I take it like this and shine it into the top of the tent, and it comes down both sides, so I'm able to set up. I mean, setup is the biggest thing, because you've got to set up early in the morning to get things set up. You know, the big thing I say on the end, whatever I said, I had one more thing I had. Where did my sheet go? I had one more. That was a process here. Okay, that was back to my people. People, you need rubberized stamp. You need something to put it in. You need something to package it in, something they can carry it back. If you've got stuff that you're doing glass or you're doing pottery or I'm doing big crosses or whatever, have something you can wrap it up in and put it in so it doesn't break on the way home. Three-dimensional things, the same thing for me on the three-dimensional. You know, price tags, you know, make your booth so people come in and want to come in. The people that so many times they'll take a booth, they'll do like this, they'll put their tables at the front thing, and then they use the back of that for storage and whatever. To me, that's a waste of their sales spot. And as you know, if you've ever been in retail or whatever, shelf space or the price of a shelf space or the price of that square foot of stuff, you know, use your 10 foot wisely and let the people come in and browse and get whatever. And, you know, make sure everything is priced. I've said that. Have a website that's decent. Mine is pitiful right now. But, you know, whatever. And 8.5 is you got the product, you got this, you went this, you came to the class, you're thinking about it or whatever. Do not procrastinate. Have fun. Any questions?